Good evening, people. Welcome to Reaching Out with Eddie, where we're going to talk to you about hot topics. You know that clip that just my daughter Aria did that? It's nice, isn't it, Q? She
Yeah.
did a good job, yeah. So thanks, Aria. She's in Mississippi, and we're here in Alabama. Just wanted to talk about a couple of things, right? If we just give our children the opportunity, it's just so many things that they can do, so many great things to do. Sometimes we interfere with our children's growth and development by not allowing them to be all they can be. Sometimes we tell them to get somewhere and sit down, get and but we gotta listen at them. If we listen at them and give them the opportunity, look at them as being a little adult or a little person, and that have ideas of their own, and you'll be surprised what you might end up with. So it's sometimes it's not easy being a good parent, but either way, recognize your strength and your shortcoming when you deal with your children. Uh, I mean, I wanted to talk about the Hispanic community. You hear me talking about them all the time, and I'm just saying the Mexican community. Mexican came here across the border, and they are, I mean, they took our jobs first. And now they're in our communities and in our schools. And I transferred my boys to schools up here from Tuscaloosa County up here in the Birmingham. And understand they was going to a school that was majority white. They have never been into a school similar to like Magnolia. The difference between Magnolia and public school, Meridian Public School at Magnolia Middle School and the middle school up here is that they have a large Hispanic population, but they don't have any white peoples at these schools. And so what I've noticed is that, and also I go around in the community up here and go into the neighborhood. There's a lot of houses that are dilapidated, houses that are actually condemned. But since they are the ones that exercising all the skilled trades now more so than we are. You have the Hispanic community, the Mexican community. They're doing everything, and they come in. They actually work together. They build their own communities. You can go. They have like a place like a shopping center, like a strip mall, a area like sitting on look like about 5 acres of land, and they have all kind of shops there, like a flea market where they selling things and washing cars. They putting in window tint, they changing tires, they selling tires, and then right across the street, they have like a bar. I mean, it's just that they know how to come together for the betterment of the community, and we could actually learn a lot from them. And they buy these houses and they pay a few $1,000s for these houses, and after that, and then they fix them up and make them look like a mansion. And so they're very good at that. So they know how to take a little bit of something and turn it into a lot of something. And we could learn a lot from them. We have a lot of houses in our communities that are abandoned, that are in a deplorable condition, and we should take it upon ourselves to fix those houses. Let's get those houses. And so the Hispanic community, and guess what? At one time we were the master builders, and they hadn't taken that trade. They just showing us what we can do to be better as a people. Q, how you doing?
Oh, I'm doing good.
What
It's
is it that you want to talk about? There's so much going on in the community over the United States. I'm not really. The one thing I noticed is they're going to absolve Donald Trump. His business is in New York. I think he's going to lose the certification. He was saying I think his property in Florida, they call it Mar-a-Lago, was worth about $780 million or something to that effect. And the real value of this, they said not even 10% of that. And he said he elevated the valuation of the property based on future development of houses in that area, but it's in the deed that it's restricted. You cannot do that. So Donald Trump is in a lot of trouble. A lot of people, no matter what they do, what he does, they still not gonna vilify him or make him a criminal. But all I gotta say to folks is, hey, what if it was you? Or what if it was somebody other than Donald Trump? But anyway, what is it you want to talk about today, Q?
first of all, I can't go on. I can't start the show without talking about this specific situation because I don't. I got it down last in my notes, but I'm gonna go ahead and talk about it. So, a 3-year old little girl shot herself with an unattended gun in a Florida home. Now, they I'm not gonna say the little girl's name because I mean because that's But that says she was playing in her grandma's Miami-Dade home in the living room when she jumped on the couch near the loaded gun, sitting in plain view. She grabbed the gun, she grabbed the gun and she peered over to the relative Orlando Young, who was preoccupied watching a football game on his laptop. She ended up injuring herself by shooting herself in the arm and she cried out. And she was taken to the hospital and she underwent surgery and she was released Tuesday and recovered at home. And meanwhile, Orlando Young was arrested for leaving his firearm unattended in the house. And prosecutors charged him with felony child neglect with greatly bodily harm. So
And he should have been charged because I
right,
mean we got to protect our children. And one of the things in our community is that we always hurting each other. We are so bad when it comes to hurting each other, threatening each other, want to fight. And it's got to be something wrong with. I see. It's almost once a week or once a day, every day. Probably as we speak, somebody in our community is being killed by somebody else in our community.
right.
We talk about the white man this, the white man that. It ain't the white man that's killing us now. We're killing each other.
And
And we it's really got to change. And I think that's the title of this show too. What's the title of this show?
yep.
Controlling the outcome.
Hmm.
How can we control the outcome? By looking at things differently. We can
Right.
always create a situation, but we cannot control the outcome. So when you start talking about maybe you got a gun, you can
Right.
control the outcome of what's going to happen to that gun. If you leave that gun around so a child can get hold to it, that child will end up, and this child was fortunate. It's good that the child did not end up killing another child or killing a parent or killing themselves. This happens so often in our communities. And usually when something like that, where a gun kill a child, folks go back and Google it, but a large percentage of the time it's in our community dealing with our people and our children. So we
Right.
got to do better. We got to do better.
And I wanted to say this also, like going back to where you said, like just because people say they got a gun and this and that. Also, you don't know how many screws a person got left in their head.
Yeah.
So you have to watch what you say to people because people will actually do some horrible stuff to the other person that's taunting them. So you gotta watch what you say to people because you don't know how many screws are loose in a person's head.
And I tell you, and I'm talking to you out that podcast, family. I'm not gonna create no situation where a person can. Uh, I can tell you one time. This is a story. I'm a deviate a little bit. You hear Tube Bell Q. Here you go, Tube Bell. How you doing? How you doing, Miss Tube Bell? Hey Q, I told Tube Bell you be doing me like him. So I said, okay, Tube Bell fan. So we got the Tube Bell fan. I'm looking at that's Q. That's her name because she be giving me all the time. That ain't what you just said. Where you get that from? So I said, okay, Tube Bell fan. You're not gonna let me tell my story. This is a true story. I was getting into it with my children's grandmother's boyfriend. And anyway, I was getting into it. And so, man, I'm trying to hear that the hell with that. Shit, man, I'm finna come over there. And shit, I promise you, me and my brother Graylin got in my road runner. We headed over there to Bell. I'm talking about I'm so low. Now you know I was a low rider back in the day. Now me and Johnny see him. Now I'm in the car like that. But I'm gonna tell you when we rode in the car, this here kind of like how you couldn't hardly see us. And of course that big afro. And his head was almost touching mine. That's how we rode. Now, this particular day, me and my brother Graylin was off in the car. Now, we were low riding, but we were mostly hunched down because we were going over there to shoot. We were going over there to shoot somebody. So we had a gun in the car. And I had got the gun from Johnny Sin. Now, Johnny Sin, I think that was a 45 or something like that. Johnny Sin gave me that greater head like a Friday night Saturday 30. Hey, back then, just about anybody could buy a gun. They didn't care anything because it wasn't a felony. They ain't have no felony conviction. They didn't care about things like that. They use all those kind of laws now in order to control us. Listen to me, folks. They use the laws to control us. Now, those laws are there for everybody. But when you go into the courtroom, and I got to deviate a little bit again, I had someone tell me that they saw this person, and maybe the person will put a note up there about what they witnessed in the courtroom with a white guy. But I'm just gonna paraphrase. Had multiple felonies, all kind of things going on with the drugs and all that, and end up getting probation. We don't get probation, so and that's really bad. And it was under Judge Wright. Judge Wright gave this white guy probation, and he gave DeCarlos Clark life without parole because he wouldn't take a 12-year deal on drugs that was not taken off him. See, that's the kind of shit that pissed me off. That's the kind of thing that goes on in our community. Now, this just happened in his courtroom last week. Yes, they came back and tell me, but the gist of it is, and if he's watching this, he know I'm telling the truth. See, that's where that racism come out. Hey, I ain't gonna fault him for looking out for his own, but where I fault him at is that he's supposed to be a judge. He's supposed to be blind. He's supposed to apply that law fairly, not because he's mad, he's angry at me, or he's angry at you because you don't take the deal. They got to get away from that. And then you lawyers out there that are watching this, shame on you. Shame on you. The reason why I said shame on you, because you let them feel like that you so worried about your quality of life, you helping fuck this neighborhood up. And how you help messing this neighborhood up is because you know that somebody needs to run against these judges. And a lot of their county, Mississippi, that 10th Judicial District is the only place I know that nobody runs against the judges. That's some bullshit. You guys got to start running against these people. Nobody deserves a job. You got to look at their report card and see what it is that they're doing or they're not doing. If he's unfair in this community, he ain't done that white man no justice, because obviously the white man got a drug problem, but he showed and do DeCarlos Clark into justice. It was wrong for them to take drugs. Now, I'm going to tell you something. Now, if he found him guilty, that's okay. But to enhance his sentencing and you didn't there's way more than a reasonable doubt with the chain of custody breaking. There's no way that man should have got that kind of time. Tool Belt, life without parole. Judge Wright did that. And that is so unfair to the black community, not the Clark family, but to the black community. When they doing this kind of shit, that means they don't give a damn about you or me or anything else. And guess what? And you know, I'm going to talk about, I'm going to get back to my story, but I have to go, these little tangents going to happen. And Tool Belt said, bro, calm your ass down. But Tool Belt don't curse like that because he's a deacon in the church. See there, Tool Belt fan, don't you do me. Because she said, don't do to it. I know what they saying. How is all these voices in the head? Mama said I was crazy. So I'm crazy because I got all these voices in my head. I can hear Tool Belt fan. I can hear Tool Belt. Some of you out there is Tool Belt fan too. So, but anyway, that's really bad. When they look at us and they don't see a person, they look at us, it's in their constitution. They drew that constitution not up for them, not for us, but for them, and not for all of them. Not even the white women this was not even applicable to them. But it was the poorest, dumbest, ignorant, most uneducated white person it applied to them. But the most intelligent black man, such as Frederick Douglass, it did not apply to them. He was 3/5 of a person. That shit is still in there. That meaning that 3/5, that one of us, the females don't count at all. We talking about males only. Females didn't count back then, black, white, yellow, green. Native Americans damn sure didn't count. But we counted as 3/5 of a person, meaning that 3/5. So I guess if we 3/5, it take 3 of us in order to just neutralize what one of them say. And that's some bull. 2 of us can't do it. 3 of us, because it's just sad. It take 2 of us to, even 2 of us, but even 10 of us, Tool Belt, even 10 of us wouldn't even, our word ain't nothing. We look at it, in other words, we're less than we are half a man. We're a little bit more than a half a man. We're not a whole man in their eyes. And they continue to look at that like that. When they can take and encage us, they love putting animals and people in cage. They look at that. Y'all look at the movie Godzilla. Godzilla, Tarzan, king of the jungle. How the fuck can a white man swing on a vine that he learned how to do it from an ape? An ape is us now. I'm just got to tell y'all, when they talking about apes, they talking about us. When you seen King Kong going to the top of the Empire State Building, that's a black man. It's saying that the inroads that a black man, the things that a black man would do just to be able to be near a white woman, and that white man is a big ugly something. Now you can imagine that this gorilla, this black man, love this white woman. She's fair, she's blonde hair, blue eyes, she's a fairy, she's a princess, she's dainty, she's precious, she's easily to be broken. You can imagine this gorilla having her and got her in the palm of his hand. If he stick his finger up in her, he'll bust up. So you imagine the sexual connotations with that, folks. We ain't number eight. We're stupid. We're not that damn smart. And they're telling you when they killed him, they are telling you that they will put the National Guard, they'll put the U.S. Army, they will blow your ass up. They're not going to let you to take over their system. You ought to understand the symbolism in this shit. I know I made some of you out there mad. I ain't talking about some of my kind. I'm talking about some of their kind. Because they say I done lost my mind going over it. But y'all go back and look at all the racist shit that we have to watch. We got to watch a doc every time we see a black person in the movie. They're highly intelligent, speaking 3 or 4 languages when you know the real person. But they got to go across like Step and Fetch, and they got to have their eyes real big like Rochester on the Jack Benny show. That's not indicative of who we are. We're very intelligent, but we have to get in where we fit in sometimes. Well, that's not me, and it's not some of you out there, but a lot of us do. But let me get back to my story. I came down 29th Avenue in front of Kate Griffin. Boy, hell, you know it too best. Said, bro, you done told you might well go and tell you. Talking about them Taylors over there. Yes, it was Taylor, Miss Alpha Taylor. Me and her boyfriend, Aditya dad, Adolphus Cole. We didn't get along then. I was going by there. I was going. Too bad I guess I was going to shoot him. I had a gun in my hand. I turned that corner. I turned that corner. I was so busy watching to see that he have a gun to shoot back at me. I didn't pay any attention to turning the corner. And I turned in front of a car and I got my car towed up. And of course, I ain't never make it there. So sometimes karma will step in. So we're going to say karma. You can say Buddha, Hindu, God, whatever you want to. Stepped in because it kept me from going to that house. Could have got killed, could have killed somebody. I'm glad that it didn't. I ended up wrecking my car. And of course, one of them Taylors, Sandra Faye, he got a gun in the car. So of course, they didn't take me to jail for having a gun, but they did take Johnny Sim gun. And of course, I got a ticket for failure to get a right of way. And I ended up dealing about like $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 to damage with the car. Back then, the car was, it was a rental car too, because it was working on my car. So Landry Motors, that's who it was. He owns You Save anywhere over there off Grand Avenue. He owned that rental place over there, and he got that car. Of course, my insurance paid for it, but I had to get that. Meaning that we can create a situation, folks, but we can't control the outcome. I never expected that to happen. So when you start talking about fighting people, threatening people, and doing things to them, you got to be some kind of fool if you're doing that. Because if you're doing that, that means that if you're doing it, that means you open yourself up for legal repercussions. But let's say that you're the baddest motherfucker in the world, that you're a black belt, that you can do all kind of flips and kicks and everything like that. Because you can fight real good doesn't mean that you can control the outcome. You never know what the outcome is going to be. Q, you got anything to say on that?
Yeah, and also I want to say, like, if you sitting up here, like, calling people phones back to back and, like, with different numbers and texting them, you realize that'll get you in a legal situation where you got to pay a lawyer and you got to keep yourself out of jail because you're basically phone harassing that person. Am I right?
Exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. And I appreciate those comments. So the outcome, it's even when you like it's just so many situations where you can create a situation, but you can never control the outcome, folks, and you can't. But I want to talk about some other things. The last time I talked about going into the city council meeting, and I went in there, and I got to tell you about Mayor Smith. Mayor Smith looked presidential. Now, I don't think he should run for president because I think him and I both just really, we're at the point where we should be retired. Now, but for us, him being a mayor, now I again witnessed him allowing for the different department heads and the people that are in there to do their job. And I think that's a good thing. And that's one of the things that our previous mayor should have done, and he did not do that. Our previous mayor micromanaged everything. And I want to talk about the outcome. I went before the city council, and this time too, but I didn't have to wait a long period of time. I was the first person to speak. They moved me up there so fast too. I just thought maybe, oh, did I really hear my name? But anyway, they did. And I got to say, the Councilwoman Walker, she did a very excellent job. She was the moderator. She led the workshop. It was other people there. It was filled with folk. And I got up and I spoke. And again, they wanted to know about this, about me wanting to have my water and sewage tapped into the city water and sewage. For those of you that just now tuning in, I own property in Meridian, Mississippi, and I want to tap into the sewage and the water. And the city of Meridian wanted to charge me well, I think it was I think Bill Hammond, whoever the city attorney was there, I think it was him. He said $2,500, but I already got a thing where it's going to cost right at $1,800. It's $800 to tap into the water, about $800 some dollars to tap into the water. We're going to round it up or down to $800 to tap into the water. To tap into the sewage is about $500 to tap in, to cut into the street, about $400. So altogether it was, and then $75 deposit. So the problem I have with that, people, is that this is the city property. I got to do this on my side, and they're not giving me this service. And so I was very eloquent when I spoke about that. And of course, Bill Hammond, I think that's his name, but the attorney that was there, I'm sure that's him. First thing he said was start talking about Attorney General's opinion. Folks, don't let anybody sway you with Attorney General's opinion. It's their opinion. It didn't say state law. It didn't say federal law. It's less than a city ordinance. What they do, the Attorney General does research and he gives opinions about things. It has nothing. Oftentimes they have been wrong. Oftentimes it had nothing to do with points of law, but mostly dealing with his emotion or what he's thinking at the time, or the mindset of the community, of the people. Even federal law itself, amendments to the Constitution, even the Constitution itself has received amendments to it. Federal law itself has changed. At one time, it was okay to be separate but equal. At one time, it was okay for a lot of things, but it's not okay now. But I point out, I said, it's just an opinion. I said, he's the Attorney General for the state of Mississippi. Only thing he did, he read the law and gave an opinion based on his interpretation of the law, which can be erroneous and oftentimes is. And of course, he didn't mention Attorney General anymore, but then he started going on talking about it take an expert to tap into it because of the pressure and all that. And then I listened to him speak. I was very respectful. I didn't interrupt him or anything like that. I let him speak. You know, I didn't open my mouth. I had to sit and listen at him go on a rant and be quite redundant a couple of times, reiterating, over-iterating. And I listened, and when he finished speaking, that's where it was my turn to speak. And of course, when I spoke, I let him know I understand that it take an expert to cut into the city. It take an expert. You got to be licensed or trained and have some kind of professional certification. I understand all that. We're not talking about certification. We're talking about something that's not fair to the community. Then I talked about when he's talking about it's going to cost them. He won't me to pay the $2,600. It's going to cost them. I pointed out that the Wayne Councilman Davis just said last week that he wanted a sidewalk that's going to cost $200 million from North Hill Street to 33rd Street. I said, but he didn't talk about going on down to 14th Street. Or they said the people that always left out. I said, I'm here today. I said, I'm here for me. I said, but I can afford to pay the $1,800. I said, but the little man can't. I said, this is the opportunity for the city of Meridian to do something for all the citizens. I looked around and I said, look at the people that are in here. They're not representative of everybody that's in this community. I said, but if you do away with this policy, and it has not always been the policy, and it's definitely not law. I said, then become policy under John Robert Smith. It was not that. I said, well, you need to, and they repeal it. And then they let subdivisions come in. They don't have to pay for a subdivision too. Well, they're spending a whole lot more money for a subdivision than they would just for one citizen. Oh, wow, man. I'm talking about, how is it that, okay, so if you got money, you don't have to spend money, but the poor man that don't have money got to spend. I don't even see how the attorney could come up with that argument. And so I said, look, it would even affect you, and you. I pointed to them. Because they too would have, this is something that would benefit even you, attorney, even you. It will affect everybody in a positive way. I said, it is time. I said, this is something. I said, it's so unfair. I said, I believe that the law would stand on my side. That was a sort of thing to let them know that if we don't get justice here, but I can tell you, Brian spoke very good, and I'm just about positive that they're going to repeal that part of the law or that part of the policy where they require the citizen to pay money to cut into city right of way. And that was my problem with the whole thing. I said, I just watched it last week, cut into the street up above 8th Street. You close the street off, you cut into it because you thought you had a sinkhole there. I said, watch you guys do it. So you had the equipment, you had the material, you had the expertise. Only thing I'm saying that for you to ask me to pay for you to do work on your property is not fair to me or any citizen. And I stood up and I walked up out of there. And I can tell you that Tybell Lindsay asked very good question, and Ramonda Walker, man, she's sharp. She's very astute. She understood. And I got to say, Miss Walker, I finna run against you, but I ain't going to do it now. I'm just going to tell you the truth. And I didn't change my mind because of you and your reception or you call me. This is my first opportunity to really have an opportunity to deal with you and seeing you doing a good job. And I got to say, you're doing a good job. And I was only going to run against you because I live there. If I lived in 2, I would have ran against Dwayne Davis. If I lived in 1, I'd have ran against George. I want to show you guys that my plan will work. Now, so again, and I changed my mind before then, and you called, and I had changed my mind already. And y'all can see Q there is my wife, Q. Q is my wife. I have to watch her. Y'all saw her doing her hair. She's always doing, making sure her hair is in place and things like that. Now, she told me it was okay for me to stand up and let y'all see. Oh, I know y'all see the black.
Okay, now sit down. Sit down.
Hold up, man. I want to move that because I don't want them to think that's gray hair. That's deodorant, so that's deodorant. Y'all can sit. Look at that. Okay. 2 belt, you can't do that. But 2 belt way stronger than me. Okay, I just had to. But anyway, that's enough. I didn't overstep it, did I, Q?
Yes, you did.
We'll talk about that later. All right. Let's get back to the show. Is there anything else that you want to talk about?
Oh, yeah, I wanted to say that y'all need to get out and vote for Wayman Newell. That's because he's a people's person, and he's just he's very nice, and no matter your skin tone, no matter what age you are, no matter your gender, he's always trying to make things better for the people in his community. He's to me, he's just a people's person, and I met him in person with my husband, and so it's not just me just saying it just because I'm saying it's off of facts, So yeah. I think y'all should get out and vote for Wayman Newell.
And I do too, and that's November. If I'm not mistaken, it's November the 6th or the 7th. I think it's the 7th. But
anyway, it's November 7th.
Yeah, and I think you should too. And I have not always promoted or advocate Wayman Newell, but Wayman is a very respectful person. I got to say this, people, and I got to say this to you. If you was to pay attention, people, and you'll find that oftentimes the problems that you have in the community emanates from the community itself. Most of the problem that I've experienced in the Black communities always started out in the Black community by Black people. And I was kind of like blind. And the Dice Man used to try to tell me, I was follow lockstep in place, and I would vote mostly Democrat. Proud to say I'm a Democrat, but I'm not a Democrat now, folks. I'm a conservative individual that's leaning toward the Republican Party. The reason why I say that is because a lot of things that has happened for me, and if it's happened to me good, and in our community, has actually been prompted by the Republican Party and by white folk. Black people wear their feelings on their sleeve. You know what Two Bell just told me, y'all podcast fan. Two Bell said, "Bro, now you just said all the judges have their feeling on their sleeve, and most of them are Republican. All of them are Republican, but they're supposed to be nonpartisan. They are nonpartisan. Two Bell. That's my answer to that. They're not Republicans. They are nonpartisan. You cannot be a judge and affiliate yourself with any party. So they're not Democrat and they're not Republican. Y'all hear Two Bell talk to me again. He said, bro, but they all vote and support Republican Party. They still are not Republican, Two Bell. Now get out of my head. But anyway, I think that part of the problem with our judges is that they be scratching each other back and they don't really care about the law. Meaning that if you made one of them mad, then all of them out to get you. If you make somebody that they know angry, then they're all out to get you. And so that's unfair. I like to say this to the judges. Please start judging. I like to say this to Dustin Markham. You are an atrocious judge. And the reason why I say that is because you give high bonds. The bonds that you give are ridiculous. $200,000. Your ass couldn't even make a $200,000 bond. And it's sad that you do people like that. If you don't want to give them a bond, then don't give them one. But your bond's supposed to be reasonable so that they can make it, and you don't do that. And so that's kind of like that, folks. My wife and I went to Bonita Lakes Mall this weekend when we was passing through. And I can tell you, Bonita Lakes Mall is dead, folks. It's dead. Y'all might as well go ahead on and figure out something else to do with it. There's not enough money in the city for that mall, and the city council killed that mall, not under the old council, including George Thomas, killed that mall. The new mayor and the new city council did not. And I'm gonna tell you how you killed that mall. You told black people that they couldn't go into that mall unless they was at if they was under 18 years of age. You said if they come in there, they gotta have their pants pulled all the way up. They can't have any kind of hats on, turn a certain kind of way. You start regulating how a person. They don't do that nowhere else. And all the malls that has not done that, they're all doing very good, and they none of them. But look at your mall. Do you know that in order to make it at a store that's selling anything, you gotta cater to the black community? All races come into this country, enrich themselves by selling things to the black community. You ain't gotta believe me. Go out and look in the community that you are in right now, and you will see that I am telling the truth. You go and see where they sell weave at, where they all the grocery stores. The only thing they got the main grocery store. They still own those. But for us, the convenience stores, oh, they own all of the convenience stores. You shop in all the hair stores, the clothing stores, everything that black people like, they sell it. They come into the country and they cater to black people. And black people are destroying black people. Black people are not doing things for black folk. Black folks out to get black folks. Black folks mad at black folks. Percy Bland was the worst damn mayor that we ever had. He's atrocious. Don't y'all let that Negro run for mayor. Do not even certify him. The FBI done investigated him. The FBI done interviewed him. The FBI is still interviewing people both civilly and criminally from his administration. And I'm going to tell you something too, what I was told. Too bad. I was told the reason why Percy Bland moved to Hoover, because if you're in a civil situation in the state of, say, if you're in a federal court in the state of Mississippi, the federal court in the state of Mississippi cannot subpoena an Alabama resident to come to a federal court in Mississippi. It has to be criminal. So that's why I'm told. But I'm going to say this to the federal court. If that's true, catch that Negro while he's at his office. He's in and out at his office. You can catch him on Sunday. Subpoena his ass when you catch him here. Now, I don't know how. I guess that's a gray area. Still would be an Alabama resident. And so that's what I'm told. I was told that the agents themselves said that by somebody. I'll tell you, that's how so. I was told this too, Bill, that this person here actually heard the video of Percy Bland talking to this other person, talking to him about taking money and drugs off the interstate, having people murked. I'm talking all this, folks. And you know, Tubel said, now, bro, you might be adding a little bit to it. I maybe or maybe not. I'm telling you what I heard. So it's what I heard. I ain't say it was factual information. But usually it's gonna, anytime you hear rumors, it's gonna have some validity in it. But this person told me out their own mouth that they heard this themselves and wonder why the hell his ass ain't in jail. Now, if y'all go back and listen at some of my videos, you would know that I told you about somebody witnessing one person dropping off some drugs. Now I'm gonna give y'all a little bit here. Have you ever wondered why, when everybody was fired, when everybody for stealing time and for doing other things, why is it that Jay Ayrton continued to collect his pay under Percy's administration? Now I'm gonna give y'all a hint. It's possible that this is a person that has all the recordings on Percy Bland doing illegal stuff. Now, I'm gonna give y'all a little other thing too. I was told this, that the mayor of Marion was getting ready to go public with him and Percy's relationship, and Percy bought him that house. And then now, if y'all checking, that house is paid for or whatever, I was told that Percy paid cash for that house that the mayor of Marion lived in to keep him from talking about their relationship. So do you really want this nigga to be mayor? Hell no, we don't want it. with the worst things ever had. Here, Jimmy Smith, Mayor Smith, I just got to get kudos. He's trying to straighten up the things that done. There's some things that could have been done differently. I grant you that. But Percy Bland, no, we can't go back to Percy Bland. Do y'all realize that Percy Bland gave white folks that was less qualified with less education, over seasoned employees, they didn't get the job under Percy Bland when the person was told to get the job. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about Lieutenant Jackson, and they talking about Detective Van. These people here now have a grievance against the city of Meridian because the first black mayor would not give them a job. They didn't ask him, hey, give me this job because I'm black. Give me this job because I'm a female. No, give me this job because I'm highly qualified. I'm trained. I'm educated. And I made the highest go on the test, or the second highest. They give it to the job to people that ain't even passed the test. So, folks, we still got that problem going because it ain't if you got a person in a position of power and authority that have the ability to hire other people that are qualified to be in that position, but that person will want to circumvent the qualifications, such as our current chief, and hire someone that did not pass the chief test, or such as all the chiefs before her. You got so many people that are in the city that are more qualified. You bring someone out of retirement, you make a acting captain, chief of police, you bring somebody like Louis Robbins out. It's just so many things happen on the Percy Bland administration. You don't want that Negro to be mayor. Now, I can tell y'all this, if they let my daughter go back to school, and I don't know, Terry Kelly went in there and she spoke, but I can tell you what did it was what I said to them. I said, understand that, and Terry did a good job, but when you start talking about double jeopardy has nothing to do with school. Double jeopardy is when you're charged with a felony, you get pulled off, and you get charged again. That's double jeopardy. No one can be made to be put in jeopardy of their life twice. That's dealing with felonies. Even misdemeanors, anything criminal, you cannot be made. That's double jeopardy. But school things and things dealing with, that's not double jeopardy. It's just that any time that somebody brings charges against you, you have a right to be confronted by your accusers. And the Meridian Public School did not do that. LaToya Brown did not show up. She didn't show up at the hearing. And that's what I let them. I talked to the deputy superintendent when it was over. I made sure that I talked to them, and I talked to them over the phone. They took notes. I said, understand that if you send my daughter to a alternative school that put me on the next agenda for the school board of trustees, understand that if they don't rule right, I'm going straight into court. I said, there's no way that you can kick her out of school. And then she had to pee in LaToya Brown. LaToya was okay, but you understand, she lost her job when Percy lost his because she was the manager's office. But now, if Percy talking about running for mayor, he gonna have on the team, and she get that job back at her office. So she had an ulterior motive. So he's a nigga. You don't need that criminal nigga running shit. Percy, stay with the hell where you at. You need to stay where you are. We're not gonna deal with that stuff again. You ran a criminal enterprise. They should have put your ass in jail. I hope they still put your ass in jail. You and every damn body associated, affiliated with you. And I'm going to talk about your ass and talk about you until you take your ass somewhere. Stay the fuck out of Mississippi. And don't you even think you're going to get in Jefferson County politics. We'll castigate your ass. Folks, I got to talk about a couple other things, and then I want to tell y'all this, folks, is that Dustin Markham is still fucking with me. He is. But I'm going to keep on messing. I'm getting ready to file a lawsuit against him and John Howard. I asked my lawyer to ask John Howard to recuse himself. Dustin, after giving a verbal statement that he was going to transfer my case to the county, even instructed the secretary to do so, did not do so. Instead, gave it to John Howard. And then saying he don't want it to go to justice court because the justice court dismissed cases. They're following the law. Hell, I had to go through this tool belt, this stuff with my wife. I had to go through it for a whole year. John Howard just would not do it. And Dustin Markham in the background. Yeah. And John Howard, I'm talking about my wife there saying, hey, I don't want to pursue this. John Howard and Amanda Rayner, who's a chancellor, y'all don't care what y'all do. Somebody, white, black, yellow, green, run against Amanda Rayner. She is crooked, notorious. She will lie. I've seen her do it in I've seen her do it in the courtroom just to win a case. You don't want her to be any kind of judge. Y'all run against her. We need to get her ass up out of there. Don't let them select for you who it is that they want to be to represent you, to serve you. Don't let them do it. Y'all got to get away from that. How they do that shit, they run for it, they win it, then they retire. Y'all need to put a stop to that shit. Change the law. If you ain't got people in there, put the right people up in there. And then you had a sidebar talking, man, you know, somebody they gonna recommend the DA and all that kind of stuff, man. Whoa, I need a lawyer. So then I hired, she hired Jim Williams, and I hired Rod Amos. Now I figure since him and Dustin okay, man, how about they give a continue. They get pissed off. I went through continues after continues, not following the law. If your accusers don't show up too, Beth, they supposed to dismiss this shit. Took a whole year. Okay, hold up. When I had to hire Catherine McNair, she ain't no joke. When I hired her, boy, that stuff ended. Still would not dismiss it. This is John Howard, and you want me to go before him again? I'm going to put a judiciary performance complaint against him. That's what I'm going to do. And then I'm going to file a lawsuit against both y'all. So I'm going to be sending the city of Meridian a notice of intent to file suit against the city of Meridian because of y'all how y'all doing me. Shit. Yeah, it ain't no fun. Man, I'm telling you, Dustin, damn it. Man, get out of your damn feelings and shit. You always take, man, look, Dustin, leave me the fuck alone. Leave me alone now. Because I ain't going to go away. What you can do to me? Put me in jail for 5 days? That really, nigga? Shit. Fuck, I can goddamn stand on my fucking hand for 5 days. I can go without eating for 5 days. $500 fine? Really, nigga? Shit. I gave Q, I think, what was Q, about $1,400. I gave my wife $1,400. They go shopping. Whatever, I don't know. I just gave her a bunch of ones. No, not $1, $100 bill. $2, bro, really? I don't know. You know, I be telling my stories. Sometimes it's a little mixture, so y'all figure it out. But either way, that's not good. And so I don't want to deal with the city of Meridian at all when it comes to judges that won't follow their heart, and you find that problem. I want to talk about I see Fred Wellstone signed in. Fred, I'm finna go. How you doing? What's up with you? I'm finna go. I'm finna cut loose a minute. I last week I got a phone call from my brother. He was telling me that he had to go to court this past Monday, and he had talked to his lawyer and everything, and he was wondering what it is. They didn't let him know what it was, and his lawyer didn't meet with him and explain to him what it was and all that. But one thing the lawyer did do, I think, is try to get Fred to let him sign his name for him. And don't never give your lawyer permission to sign your name. Now, Mumford done the shit and he didn't have permission. Now, that cost him a pretty penny now. Didn't cost him as much as we wanted to cost him, but it cost him. That man had to go hire a lawyer. I'm talking about he tried all kind of stuff. And he was stopped at every step of it. And he had to spend a lot of money to be okay. And then the judge made him pay court costs and everything. But I wanted to say this is that when Fred got to court and everything, and he gave me permission to talk about this, they was going to dismiss charges. He found out prior to him going in there that they was going to dismiss the charges against him. This is the arson charge or whatever it is they got him charged with, right? Remember, I talked about that. They have him charged with a crime that there's no victim. Meaning no victim, man. If you do something to me, that makes me a victim, and I can go press charges against you. In his case, this is a victimless crime. The insurance company out of business. The vehicle did not belong to him, nor was it in his name. The insurance policy was not in his name, nor did it belong to him. And they charging him, and they should not have charged him. And then this been going on now, folks, going on 6-7 years. It's just too long, and they still hadn't done anything to him. Now, understand that most crimes in the state of Mississippi has a statute of limitation on it. Well, don't have a statute of limitation on it. Only a few crimes do. Arson is one of those crimes that there's no statute of limitation on it. So they was going to dismiss whatever kind of charge that they had him charged with. They were going to dismiss it, but they weren't going to put on it with prejudice. And that's all they wanted. If you're going to dismiss these charges, dismiss them with prejudice. And I'll sign that. They refused to do that, and they seemed to get upset. It seemed that they must have had an ulterior motive. So I want to say this to the state: if you're gonna dismiss the charge, why would you not put on there with prejudice? Why would you want to even have? Why would you even want this man to think that Sheriff Moore is doing this because he's in his damn feelings, because he don't like the man because of some woman that maybe like Fred? The Fred ain't even messing around with the man, that woman that never did. But for whatever reason, Sheriff Moore don't like him and seem to have it in for him. So so it's not fair. It's not fair to Fred to continue to go through this shit. It's not fair to dismiss the charge and don't put with prejudice on there. I read where a part of a suit was being dismissed, and it had about 5 different things down there, 3 or 4. It don't matter whether it can be 100 or million. Doesn't matter. It had a number of things on there, and it had dismissed, including the individual associated with it. And in the end, it said all things dismissed with prejudice. That kills the case right there. And that's all Fred asking for. So then he go back to his attorney, Denson. Very dissatisfied with Denson. Denson, okay, but not okay. I'm dissatisfied with him. As certain things be revealed to me, or as I get disclosure, I'm dissatisfied with Denson. And so Denson should have met with Fred, and he did not, and discussed this with him instead of wasting everybody's time. Well, I don't know. Denson still maybe even hammer out this deal. So I want to say this to that. I think the DA is pretty fair, and I think that she will be. And at the end of the day, I think she'll do that. It doesn't make any sense for y'all to get damn mad at this man because he want to be secure in this person. You shouldn't get mad at him and do him like you did Carlos Clark and throw the hammer at his ass and break the law and do all kind of shit and make it the law just because you're mad at him. This is a bullshit case that should have never taken place. And y'all and let this man free. Let this man live his life. It ain't fair for this man to have this shit over his head for damn 6 going on 7 years. Now, y'all dismiss that shit with prejudice. You did that for me, Cass, and I thank you, and I appreciate it. You said never to be brought up again. So you put that on there. Put that on there. Now, I want to say this, is that it should be. The thing Denson did is he didn't consult with Fred and made that deal. You got to get out of the feelings. And that's, again, controlling the outcome. Fred is controlling the outcome of his life. The hell with that. I can't sign this and it's not with prejudice. That means this man is no statute of limitation on this shit. This man can go and bring this charge up against me again. And so we just can't go it. Come on, let's do this. You know, and I want to say this before I sign off, folks, and I'm about to sign off. You know, it didn't dawn on me. I read in the news where Bill Cosby was being charged again. But it didn't dawn on me that Bill Cosby gave us our own. When I was a little kid, we had to watch all of them Mighty Mouse and all the white cartoons. We didn't have seen in black cartoons until Fatty Albert and the Cosby Kid came along. Gave us our own. And then, wow, lo and behold, we watching American Bandstand, the Ed Sullivan Show, the Lawrence Welk Show, all these white shows. All of a sudden, Soul Train come along. So for these individuals to do that, Don Cornelius and Bill Cosby, man, I kudos to Bill Cosby. Kudos to, because of Bill Cosby, we have a Tyler Perry, Oprah Winfrey, and all these other people, all these other entertainers and all that. Because of the Sidney Poitier, we have everybody else. But folks, man, Bill Cosby did a great thing. So I ain't looking at what he did. I don't condone what he did. I don't condone taking advantage of anybody in any kind of way. But I got to take my hat off to the man for what he did. The man gave us our own. He gave us our own first black show, Fat Albert and the Cosby Kids. And he did all the voices. Wow, an amazing talent. And then here comes Don Cornelius, Soul Train. Wow, but Bill Cosby was the one that gave us our first cartoon. We didn't see that or know any of those things. And so, folks, I want to thank y'all for watching us, and tell somebody to watch Reaching Out with Eddie Q. Say something before we go. I want to make sure I covered everything that I wanted to cover. Yeah, yeah.
I ain't really got nothing else to say. Just watch what you say, because everybody ain't saying.
Yeah. Okay, and I want to say this to people. I want to thank y'all for watching. I want to say this, is that my son, Xavier Holt, also is going to join in on my complaint against Dustin Markham because my son Xavier Hope was charged with aggravated assault, and initially his bond was $200,000. And Dustin reduced it to $50,000. But my problem with that, folks, is that the co-defendant, the person that was shooting at him, has not been charged at all. So you're a judge, Dustin, but you ain't doing no judge job. And you single my son, when you have mutual combat shooting at each other, people, that means that nobody was hit, nobody was shot. And Dustin charged my son with aggravated assault, but he hadn't charged anyone else with anything. And my son ended up with a $200,000 bond, had to stay in jail about a week or 2 or 3 a month or whatever long until Dustin had a hearing for him and then lowered the bond down to $50,000, of which he got out of jail. Again, folks, this is not fair. That's the kind of shit that I don't like, this unequal application of the law. We ain't okay when you fuck with my family. We ain't okay when you mess with me. So no, I'm not going to let you use your judge pro tem to exercise your will, because that's what y'all do in Meridian. When one of y'all don't like me, none of y'all don't like me. See, you and I used to be okay, and all of a sudden we're not okay. Me and Vale used to be okay, and then all of a sudden she recused herself. Me and Charles Wright used to be okay. Now he hated it. You know, me and Bill Bailey, me and Bob Bailey, you know, we was okay. I supported him, and you didn't, Dustin. No, he did not, Bill Bailey. Bob, I'm sorry, not Bill Bailey. That's Pearl Bailey. That's Pearl Bailey's brother. He's the first one to do what they call back then the backslide, and y'all call it the moonwalk. So it's Bo Bailey, but it's Robert Bailey. I imagine that's Judge Robert Bailey's son. So I guess it's Robert Bailey Jr. So Robert Bailey, Dustin did not support you. He did not support you at all. So don't think because he's a judge now, you made judge and he running up to you like he did. He didn't support you. If he gave you any money, he gave the Compton man a whole lot more money because that's who he supported. Now let me quote Dustin. I'm supporting Robert Bailey. Well, he's a good lawyer, but he's not ready to be judge yet. And that's a quotation. I'll say that shit before God because it's the truth. See, now there, yeah, I said it. That ain't nothing I do. But you know, when you start trying to hurt me, I'm going to try to hurt you back. It's just simple as that. So understand that, boy, I ain't never done nothing to you. I ain't never done nothing to you. I accepted all your rulers, however you did. I accepted your rulers. I never look at you as being unfair to me. But I'm kind of skeptical of you now, along with Charles Wright and all the other judges there. So I really don't want any of you guys affiliating on nothing. So if y'all recuse yourself, that's fine. But understand this, I ain't accepting Larry Roberts either. I do not want to judge anywhere near the 10th Judicial District, Lauderdale County, Kemper County. If they from any of them areas, I want them to take me to deep south or deep north. I don't care, but just get me out of this 10th Judicial District. I don't want to deal with the judges there because you guys have your feelings on your sleeve and y'all help each other out. Y'all here too well talking to me again. Hey, Q, play that thing Araya made. And I want to thank y'all for listening. And y'all tune in again to Reaching Out with Eddie, where we'll be back next Thursday. Bye, y'all.